how do you get people to do this? I think it happens at a number of levels. I think you need leadership from the top of each organisation that commits to this. And I don't just mean the Director of Children's Services, but I mean the counsellors, I mean the voluntary sector, I mean schools, I mean health, I mean the police, I mean all of those agencies coming together on a common agenda. So you do need leadership from the top, but actually you also need leadership from the bottom. One of the really interesting things that happened in Essex is we took the work of Professor Eileen Munro very seriously. She, as you may know, did a report that said, let's get back to people working directly with children, young people and families. Social workers in particular trained to do that, but often have been overtaken by process and overtaken by computers and rules and all the rest of it. What we've tried to do in Essex, we've tried to strip away those rules and create a culture where working directly with people is the best thing to be doing. And guess what? When we advertised 80 posts to do direct work with people, we had 150 of our existing social workers apply for those jobs. Why did they apply? Because they said that's what they're trying to do and that's what they really want, that's where they thought they could make the biggest difference. And I don't think that would be any different in any local authority around the country or any area actually. And so I would say that that culture change has got to be driven by the idea that the people working with families and the people working with children and young people are mostly motivated by direct work and the difference they can make to human beings, not by process and rules and adherence to computer systems. So changing the culture of practice for me is probably the most important thing you're going to do. And although it's important to do it from the top, it's also important to do it from the bottom. Workers, managers, senior managers, everybody involved has got to feel committed to the cause. And actually, it's a cause which people can really get behind. You won't have any difficulty persuading people that working directly with human beings and changing their lives for the better isn't a great thing to do. So what is it that really persuades people about early intervention or prevention and makes it stick? What really makes that happen? Well, I think the first thing is there is just a hearts and minds thing about it. I think there are lots of people talking about this, but you've got to persuade more people than not that this is the right agenda to be playing through. Secondly, I think you've got to get much more serious about research and evaluation about what works best. So it's no good thinking that something you did maybe made a difference. You've got to be able to get into some research evidence base about what you did and what cause and effect was. And some of that cause and effect isn't over weeks and months, it's over years. And so you have to think longitudinally about that research and that evaluation. And then thirdly, I think you can just be incredibly persuasive about the money and the resources. Because if you do the homework on the investment from early intervention versus the cost of firefighting, actually the numbers, the resources speak for themselves. If you do those three things, you're probably going to get there. One of the really important things is to get politicians and policymakers convinced by this agenda. I don't think it's a hard thing to do, because I think confront them with the evidence of what works, confront them with the difference that you can make to people's lives, and actually in my experience they will come on board very, very quickly. But it is important that people who sit on health and wellbeing boards, on safeguarding boards, on children's partnerships, the politicians, the lead members, even the backbench members in councils, for instance, understand what the council is about trying to do, that the idea that it's better for children by and large to be in their families, that family life is a good thing in resilient, functioning families, I think is really important. And we need to be more persuasive with the policymakers and the politicians about the importance of this agenda going forward.